Let's get ready for week 1 of college football through the lens of a scout. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Happy Thursday. We're going to be doing something just a little bit different with this video. Most of my videos, of course, as you guys know, are Seahawks videos, and almost always the morning video is going to be a Seahawks video. There's not a lot going on right now, though. I don't know what's going to happen later today. Maybe we get a couple injury updates, some news with Jonathan Hankins, maybe some further updates on Tyrese Knight. Realistically, the biggest thing that's probably going to happen today is we're going to get clarification on the practice squad with Courtney Jackson and Chris Paul Jr., whether or not they're coming officially or not. So let's definitely see what happens there. But for the moment, I don't really have much of anything to go over that I didn't already talk about yesterday. So we're going to go ahead and lead off with a video talking about something a little bit more, I guess I'll call it Seahawks adjacent, because this all comes back to NFL fandom, right? Because if you're watching this channel, you probably like professional football. You probably like the National Football League. You might not be a big fan of college football, or at the very least, you might not have a team that you root for. So if you watch college football, it might mostly just be because you want to see the prospects that are going to be interesting in 2026. Or whatever the next year is. So what I like to do, and I've done this for a few years now, and it only appeals to a small subset of my viewers, because this is the kind of stuff that you got to be really into this stuff to bite into. But basically, I look at the college football schedule every week, and I try to determine what the ideal watch schedule would be for each week, if your only objective is to watch the intriguing college prospects. So if you don't have a team, if you don't want to root for a certain program or university, then this is a list that can kind of give you an idea of who to keep an eye on just for the sake of pro football. Now, these first couple of days are going to be a little bit slower, but technically we do start tonight. Week 1 of college football starts tonight. Week 0 was last week. We had, I think, 5 games last week. And we've got a lot more this week. And some of these games are going to be really, really compelling from this angle. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to go through it. And I'm assuming that you have the ability to watch 2 games at once, because we can all do that, right? Like, we can all flip back and forth on the TV, or we have multiple screens, or we can watch one on our phone or one on our laptop, whatever. Point I'm trying to make is that you can multitask to watch all these games. So trying to lay things out as plainly as I can. Again, keeping in mind that you can only really watch 2 games at once. Otherwise, it becomes unreasonable. Here is my recommended watch schedule for college football this week. Tonight, there's not a lot. I'll be honest. It's pretty lightweight this week. On Thursday, but Elon plays Duke, and Duke does have one cornerback prospect that I think is worth monitoring, Rivers. Now, he's certainly not the most interesting prospect in this draft, not by a long shot. Might be 100 guys that are more compelling, but it's a start. 4:30, Elon takes on Duke. And by the way, these are Pacific times. Only on ESPN Plus or ACC Extra, so not a lot of people are going to get this game. I assigned 2 points, and the point system is just literally the 2 teams, prospects in my rubric that I put together, added together. So it's actually really simple. If you watch that video I made a couple days ago about assigning a point value to each program, it's just those points added up between the 2 teams that are playing. And in most cases, by the way, only one team is going to be of interest, especially early in the season. But anyway, there's one game tonight that should be easy to watch that I do recommend. 6 p.m., Nebraska takes on Cincinnati. Not a bad game. Cincinnati has one guy that I really, really like, that I think is very, very interesting, Dante Corleone. Dante Corleone, one of the best nose tackles in this draft. Pretty much a pure nose tackle, too. Games on ESPN, easy to find. 5 points just for Corleone. I like him that much. I think that highly of him. So pretty decent start, but it is a lighter than usual Thursday. Most Thursdays will probably do a little bit better. You go to Friday. You got 2 games in the late afternoon. Little bit more oomph here. 4:30, Western Illinois takes on Illinois. Not a great game. Illinois is probably going to win by 30, 35 points. Illinois has a couple players I like. They have their edge rusher, Jacques, and they have a safety, Scott. And I think that's worth about 5 points on my scale, which is not huge, but it is of some value. It's on Peacock. So I think you have to subscribe to Peacock to get the game. So not the easiest thing in the world to get, but maybe you do. And then our first semi-compelling game of the year from this perspective, the really intriguing stuff, comes at 5 p.m. So half an hour later, Auburn takes on Baylor, and Auburn brings some goods. They've got Singleton Jr. at wide receiver, really like him. Chaplin, left tackle. Lou, one of the top centers in this draft. Falk, defensive lineman. It's a good group, especially Singleton. I'm pretty high on Singleton, and I think any top 100 center this year is worth keeping our eye on. So that game's on Fox. Easy to get, easy to watch. 15 points just for what Auburn's bringing to the table here. And then we get to Saturday. Saturday, this is, of course, the meat. We have almost game of the week. We've got Texas taking on Ohio State at 9 a.m. This is almost the game of the week. And honestly, in terms of just raw football, like college football, it probably is the game of the week. Prospect-wise, it's very close. You've got, of course, Arch Manning. You've got all that fun stuff they've got on the offense at Texas. The running back, Wisner. They've got DJ Campbell at right guard. They've got a really good left tackle. Anthony Hill Jr., great linebacker prospect. Some secondary guys. Ohio State's bringing in Carnell Tate. They've got a top tight end this year, Sonny Styles. Cornerback and a safety as well. And the safety, my God, Caleb Downs. He could be the next Kyle Hamilton. So that is an absolutely stacked game from a prospect angle. 36 points. And it is very unlikely you're going to see any game this year that goes above 50. And I imagine there's only going to be 1 or 2 games at best that go over 40. So 36 is really, really strong. This is about as compelling a game as you can have here. Later in the morning, 11:30, so 2.5 hours later. So focus all your attention right here. Don't even bother with any other game. And then 11:30, maybe this game's turned into a blowout. I don't know. You can start kind of looking at Old Dominion versus Indiana. 11:30. Indiana is bringing some stuff to the table that I really like here. Mendoza, the quarterback, he's one of my top quarterbacks to keep an eye on that the Seahawks could actually get, theoretically. You've got Sarat, the wide receiver. He's also high on my list. They got an edge rusher, Kamara, and Ponce, the cornerback. Fox Sports won 13 points just for what Indiana's bringing to the table here. Nice set, but it should be an easy game for them, so it's not great. And that takes us to the afternoon, where you've got 2 games that start at 12:30. And one of them is very good, and the other one is great. The issue is both games are relatively likely to be blowouts. Nevada versus Penn State. Penn State should mop up here, but Penn State has a very stacked roster. They've got 2 running backs that are going to be top drafted prospects in all likelihood. Drew Alar, quarterback. You've got a left tackle, Donnie Denise Sutton at edge. It's pretty stacked. This game is on CBS, Paramount Plus, 22 points just for Penn State. And again, part of the problem is that it's all Penn State. Nevada doesn't really have anybody, and this game should be a laugher. Same with this other game, 12:30, Alabama. I think Alabama is the most stacked team in college football right now in terms of pro prospects to watch for in 2026. I think they are number 1. I have 31 points just for them. Bernard, Jeremy Bernard, Proctor, Parker Brailsford at center, Roberts, what's his name? Keegan Roberts, I think. And then you've got nose tackle. Always keeping an eye on these nose tackles. Keenan, LT Overton at edge, Deontay Lawson linebacker, Keon Saab at safety. And Florida State is not a terrible team. They just should still get pushed around. Maybe that'll be okay because it's at least in Florida State, but Florida State doesn't have a lot that I'm intrigued by this year, so it's still not great. But that game's on ABC. Should be easy to get. Everybody should be able to watch that one, no problem, one way or the other. So that's your afternoon slate. Then we get to the late afternoon. 2 games here. This first one, it's not stellar. UTSA, so University of Texas San Antonio versus A&M. So UTSA doesn't have a lot that is currently on my radar, but A&M, Concepcion's a really good receiver. Trey Zoom III is a great left tackle. They've got another offensive lineman here. They've got an edge rusher, linebacker. They've got a good cornerback prospect. That is enough to watch ESPN 17 points for this crew. And the game of the week, by this metric anyway, the most interesting game of the week by this scoring system is LSU versus Clemson, and it's not that close because both of these teams are bringing out the heavy hardware. LSU, they got Garrett Nussmeier at quarterback. They got Patrick Payton this year. Harold Perkins. They got another linebacker as well. They got another cornerback. And then Clemson's right at the top of the list, right? Cade Klubnik could be the #1 overall pick. They got a big-time receiver. They got 2 tackles. They got 3 guys on that defensive line and a cornerback. 39 points here. This is going to be one of the highest scores of any game all year. Game can be found on ABC. That is the game of the week from a purely prospect watching perspective. And then the nightcap. We have 2 things going on here. Neither is great, but they'll get you by. 7 o'clock, Northern Arizona plays Arizona State. Arizona State's going to be really good this year. They've got a really, really great receiver prospect, Tyson. They've also got a cornerback, Abney the second. Game's only on ESPN Plus, so if you can find it, good for you, 8 points. And then, of course, the ultra nightcap will be my Washington Huskies taking on Colorado State. I'll be watching this anyway. But it just so happens Denzel Boston and Takario Davis play for Washington, so it's easy to come up with a reason to watch it, even if you're not a Huskies fan. Those are 2 guys that are intriguing, especially Denzel Boston. Game is being broadcast on the Big Ten Network, 8 points of value just for these 2 guys. And that is it for this first week. So I'll try to do this video every week. I know a lot of people don't watch this. I know a lot of people don't get anything out of this because they don't. Again, you have to be really into this kind of stuff to do this, to watch college football for prospect evaluation. But for those that do, I think it helps. And it provides a guide. Now, there are other games out there that might be worth your time to watch. There are other players out there that are good. But this is like a realistic watch schedule. I didn't want to list out every single game that has a player that I like. I wanted to offer up the path of the path of most benefit, objectively speaking. Okay, I will see you guys later. Go Hawks. Probably going to be a couple more videos today that are not Seahawks related directly. Because again, right now there's not much going on, so it's a good opportunity for me to make those videos and just go ahead and push them out. And once stuff is happening, I don't have to worry about making those videos then. I might do a Mariners video. I'm probably going to do a Huskies video. Also going to be streaming on Twitch tonight, Metal Gear Solid Delta. I'll make a video just talking about that once I get the game. Of course, I'm streaming with the Hawks Nest in a couple of hours here, so keep an eye out for that. Until then, go Hawks.